sometimes just the ego could be the driving factor rather than what end result we are looking at. There are silos of success, and rather than just looking at a few silos, we have to see that that we transform the entire process rather than just one unit, one element getting transformed. Award-driven projects, people are very often looking at just awards and not just seeing whether actually value is getting driven, or whoever is the key stakeholder, is he getting value out of this project? Big bang e-governance. Do we just want to have everything being done? All things, we have a lot of problems in in various governance projects. Can we just do one thing and change everything in one shot? Very often that's not the best solution. Go about it in small steps. Take item by item and see what you can do to ensure that the project becomes successful. There is very often a blame game also which goes on, that you are talking of this didn't happen, that didn't happen, and keep on pointing the fingers at somebody else. Whether it's a private sector, whether it's this department, whether it's whatever it is, very often that's another element. And NISG, if you just talk of what NISG does, NISG is National Institute of Smart Government, which is really helping various state and center departments in implementing e-governance projects. We act as advisors, guiders, really become the hand-holding organization which handholds various state governments and central governments in implementing e-governance projects, both in the conceptualization stage, understanding what the problem area is, what could be the way e-governance could be brought in, so more at the strategic planning and the conceptualization stage, then getting into the project development where you start working out how to implement it, who are the people who will be involved. At times it's a question of getting a public-private partnership, so we do get involved in helping the departments in getting the right resources in implementing this project. Capacity building is another important aspect of NISG, because there is not adequate capacity at all the center and state levels, and NISG plays a very important role there. And of course, we try to figure out, do some research and innovation in new areas, new concepts which could be applied across various projects. Just to give one idea, one example where NISG worked in, this was in the e-passports project, and citizens had to be provided passport services with certainty, speed, convenience, and transparency. And I think NISG looked at all these objectives, and this project is about to get rolled out. It's in the implementation stage. I understand that it should be going live in the very near future. So there are some very mission-critical projects in which NISG is working in, and we hope to see how we can work in much larger number of projects. This seminar is more about smart city. We are working in the urban projects also. A lot of activities going on here. But in this presentation, I just wanted to talk briefly about some of the challenges in e-governance in general and what issues one should keep in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjiv, for again rebuilding in our mind what are the different aspects of the e-governance. And actually there is e-passport is not that project. Project is e-passport is a different project, and Passport Seva Kendra is a different passport-related services, which is going to be live, I hope, on 29 January at Bangalore and Chandigarh. But anyway, any questions on all? Yeah, why not? Please identify yourself.
My name is Aparna Das, and I work for. I do not know whether it is being kind of with a thought or is this, but in the last slide I saw that you said it's a citizen centric. But in your first, second or third slide I saw that it's a customer driven governance. Now, two words, when we start using it as synonyms, especially in a country like India, like customer and citizen, there is a lot to it, So is it something that, okay, I have two mics now. Is it something that we are conscious about it, that not every customer or not every citizen can become a customer? Because if you see, look at our cities, 40% of it is informal, And if we are talking about a governance which is customer-driven governance, it's a completely a different kind of a scenario we are painting. So this is something, and also, I find that in our e-governance projects, there's one of the, it's not really inclusive, because you have to also think about the other side, the 40% of it, which is sitting away from this, and maybe the dissemination has to be done in a very different way than what we do for the other 60% or the 50% of the population.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. I think your point is a very valid point. When you refer to somebody as a customer means that he is paying for some services, right? And therefore, there are a lot of e-governance projects where there is a service being provided which is getting paid for, and the person who's using those services could be paying whether 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 50 rupees, or whatever. So there is a commercial angle to it which can pay for those services. The other aspect is where it is a citizen, by nature of being a citizen, has a right to ask for certain services, and he need not have to pay for that. And therefore, he is not a customer, he is a consumer of some other services. He is a citizen which he expects certain things as a right. And I think your point is valid that in this presentation, both of these were used interchangeably. In a way, you have to keep in mind who that e-governance project is meant for. Sometimes it could be for a citizen who may or may not be paying for those services. At times it could be about a person who derives value out of that service and therefore is willing to pay for it. And therefore the business model or the way the project is conceptualized could be different in both the situations. But I take your point that in this presentation, the words are used synonymously.
I think let me just add a little bit what Sanjiv told. I think it has become almost customary that we use the word customer-driven governance. I mean, it's only question of semantics. I think he answered it correctly. It's not only in this presentation, many of the places, even in our notings, we use it, but we really mean the citizen, because it's important that whether value is proposed in that or not. Transaction of money is something. 5,000 years ago, there was no money, so there's to be barter. So it is only the value proposition which is more important. And there's no problem of taking all the citizens as a customer of where you have to attend to. So that's a generic feeling. There's not much of more than 70. But thank you, Sanjeev, for this. And if there is no other question, I will request. Is there any question? Sorry, I missed.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Sanjiv Mital. I'm the CEO of Wiki Quality Division. I must congratulate NISG on all the things that they do for promoting e-governance. I wanted to link it up with some of the ground level work that we are doing. For example, we worked with a municipal corporation in a small town, and they are still struggling with installing a water billing software which comes up with error-free bills. So when we talk of ground level realities of that kind, that for about 2.5 years they have installed the software and they are not able to come up with error-free bills even now. Even say every 6 months they're not able to come up with bills. So looking at the wide divide from NISG side, could you suggest to us that for these kinds of organizations, what is the way out? Who should they contact to build that kind of capacity? Because water billing software is not something that is not available in the country. And they don't know where to go, and they just keep on struggling within those loops. Who should they go to? NISG is too high level for them to contact. Is it the state government? And the state government also doesn't have the capacity. So how do they cross this?
Ma'am, let me take the liberty of answering this question. I'll spare Sanjeev for that. The domain knowledge of this department, which is very nicely trying to, their knowledge is nobody can substitute that knowledge. So what I can understand from this, what little bit of problem he said, is that the proper process engineering has not been done. So once this process engineering is actually refined enough to fit it into a software SRS applications, there should not be, it's not a great rocket science of getting a error-free water billing. So only thing is the process has to be made into the blocks, which can be translated nicely in a software. then you can get an error-free
They
billing
already
software.
have a software. Who should they go to?
But
for
if the
getting
software is developed by somebody, is it not that fellow is not responding? I mean.
that